UFC Nashville takes place this Saturday, and I'm excited to bring you guys my full fight card predictions. Now, earlier in the week, I used the Money Manziel MMA criteria, where I do kind of a breakdown based on just vibes and just what I think would be funny if it happened, kind of the sillier part of MMA. You guys are getting a technical breakdown. We got in the lab on this one. Every single pick, 100% correct. Put your mortgage on these. Put your children on these. Put together that 12 leg parlay. We all know it's cashing, or it'll cash someday. So let's get right into this, man. First fight, Fatima Klein and Melissa Martinez. I'll be honest with you. I said I did a lot of tape study. I did not do anything for this fight. Listen, man, Fatima Klein, I've never watched her fight. Melissa Martinez, I've never watched her fight. But a minus 1200 in women's MMA is more trustworthy to me than like the minus 4 and 500s that we get, where it's kind of like, maybe they mess up here or whatever. But I think Fatima Klein's going to win, man. Um, yeah, my breakdown kind of says it all. Like, I didn't watch anything for this. I'm not going to watch this fight live, to be honest with you. Um, but I think we'll get a 29-28 women's MMA type of decision. If it ends up being a banger, that's tough on me, and I'll watch her next fight. But we're moving along briskly here. So, next fight of the night, Mitch Ramirez and Mike Davis. Wow, what a jump in skill we have here. Mike Davis coming off the loss to Fres Ziam, and Mitch Ramirez. I'm trying to remember who his last fight was against. Maybe it was the or the Thiago Moises fight, where he got leg kicked, basically. I'm going Mike Davis here. We're getting a minus 1200 and a minus 2000 to start the night. Not sure why they're doing this matchup, but Mike Davis has already been aura maxing on TikTok, which I like to see out of a fighter, even though he's 32. And again, you cannot get leg kick TKO'd as bad as he did versus Moises. I just think he's taking too much time off. I think Mike Davis probably TKOs him here. And I think that's pretty clear. He's better everywhere. I will say that Mike Davis was fascinating in the Fres Ziam fight. I think a lot of people thought he was going to come in and win that. And he kind of just played the guard game. He got him in a bunch of weird leg positions, but there was never really a chance when it comes to Mike Davis doing anything significant to Fres Ziam. So I am slightly interested in, overall whether Mike Davis is going to look really bad or if it was, just a case of, oh, he didn't have a hotel booked in time, which is true. So that's TBD on Mike Davis, but we're going to pick him for this fight. Next up, fat Brazilian versus failed light heavyweight, now prospect at heavyweight, Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Walter Walker has been aura maxing so hard on Instagram. I don't know if you've seen this guy. Walter Walker, genuinely, and I mean this, Walter Walker and Johnny Walker are genuinely two shared chromosomes. Like, Walter Walker and Johnny Walker have a chromosome between two of them, and Walter Walker got about a quarter of it. If Johnny Walker has more chromosomes than you as a human being, you have Down syndrome. Like, you have completely lost the plot if you have less chromosomes than Johnny Walker, and I think Walter Walker might be a dumber human being. He did get the heel hook over Tafa and Dontel Mays, but bro, like, I like Walter. Those are not two guys that I'm going to put much stake in if you heel hook them. They're about the two guys I would predict to get heel hooked by anyone in a fight. He cannot strike on the feet. Lucas Brzeski gave him all he could on the feet. And Nzechukwu has too much footwork to really get taken down by a blast single. So I think Nzechukwu is going to win this fight, probably by KO, to be honest with you. I think he finishes him in the second round. Maybe Walter gets a takedown in the first, but he's not able to control him. And, he gets gassed a little bit. The steroid cycle hasn't hit. And Kennedy just moves around enough to where Walter cannot give him problems for long enough. So I like Kennedy and Nzechukwu here to win. Next up, Eduardo Mora versus Lauren Murphy. Guys, Lauren Murphy is 41 years old. How are you still in the UFC? She's fought like 3 times since 2021. We're not interested in the Lauren Murphy agenda. We're going to go Eduardo Mora here. I know nothing about her also. I know she beat Veronica Hardy in her last fight, which I think is a decent win. I think Veronica Hardy would give Lauren Murphy a lot of problems. So we're going to go Eduardo Mora. Pretty simple. It's like, listen, if you can't beat Lauren Murphy in 2025, you've got serious problems on your hands. So we're gonna take Eduardo Mora to win this, probably by a boring decision, to be honest with you. Um, if she cannot beat Lauren Murphy, then you need to retire from the sport because she is genuinely 41 years old and Mora is somewhat of a prospect. So when it comes to stuff like that, I actually really like, these younger girls to beat the older girls. I think Tracy Cortez and Viviane Araújo is a great comparison for that because a lot of people thought Araújo had a chance, but she was too old to keep up with Cortez. So I think you're going to see a similar thing here. I bet Lauren Murphy has a moment early in the striking, but Mora just takes over and probably wins each round. So we'll go Eduardo Mora here. Next up, Jake Matthews and Chidi Njokuani. What a banger this one is. Jake Matthews and Chidi Njokuani, I don't know two people who are better at staring at each other menacingly at range. Jake Matthews does nothing in his fights, but he's hyped up like he's a big prospect. Chidi Njokuani has done nothing in a majority of his fights. He kind of stands at you. The commentators are like, oh, he's got the nasty Muay Thai. Only recently in that Elezu Zaleski dos Santos fight did he actually show off the finishing potential that he has. I'm looking forward to this fight. I think you could get a nasty finish or just a battle here. I'm going to go with Chidi Njokuani. I'm very 50-50 on this, though, because he could just stand there while Jake Matthews tees off and knocks him out. Or the opposite. Jake Matthews stands there and Chidi beats him up with knees and elbows and finishes him. So it's tricky. I think Chidi could win the first two, and then Matthews kind of mounts a good, decent attempt in the third round to finish him. But do not be surprised if this is either the greatest fight of your life or the most boring fight of your life. I'm going to go Chidi Njokuani, though. Next up, the featured prelim on this card. I can't believe this is a prelim. Max Griffin and Chris Curtis. On a fight night, it's actually a pretty fucking good prelim. That's kind of the level that I'm at with this. I will say that I'm so 50-50 on Chris Curtis sometimes as a fighter, just because this guy's 37. He had a bunch of KOs to start, and then he's kind of done nothing since then. He beat Marc-Andre Barrio when it was considered a good win. The contest with Imavov wasn't very close. Hermanson pieced him up. Kopylov and him had a competitive fight. I'll give him that. But Max Griffin is not good, dude. If you lose to Michael Chiesa in the big 2024, you deserve to be shot. You deserve to be executed in public if you lose to Michael Chiesa. That is how bad Chiesa is, dude. I would prefer that anyone who loses to Michael Chiesa never fight. Never do a sport. Again, don't do soccer with your child. So I'm going with Chris Curtis simply because of that. Chris Curtis would beat the shit out of Michael Chiesa. So we're going to go Chris Curtis here. I think that he's just better. He does have a weird build, so I'm down with that. I saw the weight cut went really well for him on his TikTok, so I like that. I have no clue how this guy wasn't suspended, by the way. Him and Sean Strickland genuinely jumped a fighter in a random regional promotion, and the UFC was just like, whatever, this shit's just a part of the job. Which is wild, and it is what it is, but Chris Curtis is winning this fight. I don't know how. Don't ask me. Here we go. Junior Tafa and Tuco Tacos. Why is this on the main card and that previous two fights aren't? I'm very 50-50 about this, man. I picked Tuco Tacos in the Money Manziel criteria video just because he's a funny name. But there is a world where he wrestles Tafa. Tafa cannot defend takedowns. I do think it'll be an interesting thing to look at come the second round if we get there and this fight is still going. Because Tafa is really good at just being kind of a fat guy with a good right hand. So at what point does that kind of wear off and we wonder, okay, how do you do when you get past the 5-minute mark, the 7-minute mark? Tacos is not a good fighter at all. He's lost in the UFC twice now. But he could wrestle. I'm going to say, though, that the more likely thing is that Junior Tafa realizes that there is no threat to him on the feet. And now that he's kind of abs maxing and he's got kind of a decent physique and diet, that he will just hit Tacos early and fold him. So that's my prediction. I think the UFC is going to script it for him to win a robbery split decision, even if he doesn't get it. So we'll go Junior Tafa here. Next up, Austin Lane and Vitor Petrino. I just saw that Petrino looked that big and strong at 249 pounds. I'm not going to break this down at all. I think Vitor Petrino wins. Now, there is a world where Austin Lane flukes him with a right hand. I'm not going to be shocked if that's the case, but man, it's just like Petrino should win. He's big. The kid's strong. Um, I think that he's going to knock out Austin Lane. I think right now, if you put any heavyweight in the past 15 years in there with Austin Lane, there's a chance they knock him out. I have no clue how Austin Lane got into the UFC. I don't know. I think Greg Hardy knocked him out. If Greg Hardy knocks you out and you aren't his wife, you deserve to also be in this public execution of Max Griffin. I think that a loss to Greg Hardy is so detrimental to your well being that you should retire from the sport immediately. We should not be losing to Greg Hardy in 2021 or whatever it was, 2019. So we're going to go Vitor Petrino to chin this fucking guy. Next up, I believe this is the feature fight. I might be wrong about that, but Nate Landwehr and Morgan Charrier. I'm very back and forth on this still. My heart is still in the same place. I don't care how washed Nate Landwehr looked versus Dooho Choi. I'm going Nate Landwehr, man. Charrier showed that his chin is dog shit and that he can be touched. He's French, which means there's a chance he quits. I just think that the stars have aligned for Nate Landwehr to get a win here. I think that, it's one of those fights where it doesn't make any sense. Your whole heart is like, bro, Nate Landwehr is so dog shit. He's old. He's like 37 now. How old is he actually? Yeah, he's 37. Like the stars have aligned. There's no way that he loses to, or that he beats Morgan Charrier, who's a legitimate prospect that went to war with Paul Hughes and a bunch of legitimate guys in Cage Warriors. I think he flukes him. I think Nate Landwehr will knock out Morgan Charrier. Get on the mic. Nate the Train in the UFC, baby. I got the biggest arms in all of Nashville. And he's doing like a whole fucking thing. This guy's 40 years old. And I just think it's due, man. We all want the Nate Landwehr win. I honestly think if Nate Landwehr doesn't knock out Morgan Charrier, I will personally see to it that Nate Landwehr gets $10,000 from each member of my TikTok channel. If Nate Landwehr doesn't knock out Morgan Charrier, we are all going to be paying him $10,000. Yes, you exclusively, not me, not on my soul, but all of us are going to be paying Nate Landwehr $10,000 if he knocks out, or if he doesn't knock out Morgan Charrier. You've heard it here first. Official wager on the channel. If Nate Landwehr doesn't knock out Morgan Charrier in the first round of this fight, every single one of you watching this video is paying him $5,000. I don't make the rules about this. I'm not responsible for it. I'm definitely not paying him, so have fun with that, guys. Either way, we move on to the actual featured fight now, I remember. I'm not going to spend much time on this dude. We're talking about a 5 or 6 fight KO streak versus a 5 fight losing streak. Steve Garcia is going to kill Calvin Kattar. I don't care that he hasn't been knocked out before. Don't overthink this one, man. Steve Garcia has titties, which I like for the sake of fighting. I think he's just gonna fucking bulldoze him. Sorry, there's like a baddie outside. But either way, he's gonna bulldoze him. He's gonna knock him unconscious, and we're gonna move on. I'm not even gonna spend time on this fight. Stephen Thompson and Gabriel Bonfim. Every part of my being wants to pick Thompson because Bonfim is actually kind of an ass striker. Like, he's not even that good. So there is a world where Wonderboy wins this fight if he can somehow shut down takedowns and Bonfim wants to stand with him for 3 rounds. But the most likely scenario is all of us start crying when Wonderboy gets taken out and loses. Gabriel Bonfim is going to be a loser this fight. We are all going to be booing him. Every single one of us is going to be sending death threats to Gabriel Bonfim after this fight. We are all saying hashtag kill Gabriel Bonfim after he takes down Wonderboy Thompson. I didn't start this trend, but you all know you're going to be doing it, so it is what it is. He's going to win this fight 30-27 and take him down 3 times. I think that's reality. Easy work. Main event of the night. Derek Lewis and Taliesin Teixeira. Guys, I'm already seeing the gaslighting and the propaganda on my, on my For You page at this point and my Instagram reels that Derek Lewis is locked in. Oh, What about when he fought Stefan Struve or Alexander Volkov? First, I don't actually know if he fought Stefan Struve. I just kind of made that up. But either way, man, it's to a point where like I know it's a big jump, and I said this in the Money Manziel MMA video, but like, dude, Derek Lewis is not this Hall of Fame level jump for someone. Like, you could realistically beat Derek Lewis without much training. Like, I think that a random athletic guy could beat Derek Lewis in a fight if he was 240 pounds. So I'm going to say Talson Teixeira flatlines him here. I think Derek Lewis has quit a couple of fights, and people don't talk about it enough. The Cyril Gahn fight, he quit. Trying to actually hold on. Let me think of some other ones where he quit. Tai Tuivasa, he quit. That got tough, and he quit. Pavlovich, he quit. I think there's a couple other ones in there too. I feel like Sergey Spivak, he quit pretty fast also. So I think it's capable here. I think unfortunately Teixeira's going to get flatlined the fight afterwards, but for the sake of this main event, I'm going to pick Talson Teixeira to win. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope all of you enjoyed. I did enjoy making this one. Hoping to get this out pretty soon here on Friday. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate every single one of you. Like, comment, and subscribe. My TikTok is at MoneyManzielMMA. If you're coming from Shorts, I love you. If you're coming from the search feed, I guess I love you too. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.